There's a place you've probably never heard of, but you should. It's a tiny village called Gurimbelle in Ghana, West Africa. Gurimbelle is literally at the end of civilization. To get there from the good old US of A, you fly for about 20 hours. Then you ride a bus for 18 more to the south edge of the Sahara. Then you ride in a truck or on a dirt bike for another 3 hours to the very end of a mud road. That's Gurimbelle. Nobody goes through Gurimbelle. Past Gurimbelle is just miles of snakes, giant termite mounds, and wilderness. It's hot and dry all year, except for a few weeks when it dumps insane amounts of rain and the road becomes a soupy quagmire. But Gurimbelle is a vibrant place. The people are warm and the kids are just fantastic. They work incredibly hard to feed their families, and their culture is built on centuries of colorful Chocola tribal community. So why are we talking about Gurimbelle? Because there's a really good story going on here. The story starts with Jerry Gowan. Jerry is a missionary who started riding his dirt bike out to Gurimbelle several years ago. He realized malaria and other treatable diseases were devastatingly deadly in this remote area. The closest hospital was a 3-hour drive away if you could get a ride there. Jerry had no medical training, but he started treating medical problems and transporting seriously ill people on the back of his motorbike to the hospital. He also once climbed down into a trash pit with a mamba and killed it with a stick. But that's another story. After Jerry came, the death toll from malaria in Gurimbelle dropped from 24 in a year to 1 the next year. But Jerry knew the need was much bigger than he could meet. Accidental injuries can lead to amputation or death in these remote areas. Waterborne illnesses, snake bite, and many other maladies exact a horrific cost. Infant mortality is heartbreakingly commonplace. There is a hopelessness about it. So much of the time when you see these stories on the news, it's depressing. But not this story. This story is about to get good. Pastor Sammy is the next character in the story. Pastor Sammy started working with Jerry, and they started to bring short-term medical teams from the U.S. to Gurimbelle once every year or so. These teams saved lives. They brought hope. Sammy took over the work from Jerry 2 years ago. He's still providing care and bringing medical teams in to help. But this is where the plot twist comes in. In 2013, one of those medical teams included an American nurse named Olita Witt. Olita is a quiet person until you get to know her, but she exudes competence and passion for her work. Olita has several years of experience as a surgical nurse, but since she was about 13 years old, she has known she was going to be a medical missionary.
I first knew that I was supposed to be a medical missionary when I was in junior high. I felt God's calling. Missionaries actually from Ghana were talking about Ghana, and I felt God leading me to be a medical missionary. I even wrote it in my Bible that I was going to be a medical missionary when I was a teenager.
Back then, Olita, like most of us, had never heard of Gurimbelle. But then she traveled with a team all the way down that mud road and knew right away that this would be home. This is where she belongs.
I first knew that Gurimbelle was the place when we arrived. I felt a peace there. It was just me and the kids trying to get to know each other. We're singing psalms, and I really felt a connection with the people.
Olita knew Gurimbelle was a place she could make an absolutely life-changing difference.
During the clinics, I saw many treatable things that they would never have received treatment, and they could die easily. We saw a girl that had a wound in her foot that went to her bone that could have been easily treated, but she had let it go so far that it was, seriously infected that she could lose her foot.
She didn't know how she was going to get there, but she had to go. Olita started dreaming about a medical clinic in Gurimbelle. It was a big dream, but things started falling into place seemingly by chance. Construction details, practical matters, supplies, and even a Ghanaian nurse who will live and work with Olita in the clinic. This changes everything for several thousand people in northern Ghana. Olita Witt will treat diseases and injuries, infant mortality will drop, she'll provide education to prevent infections and disease. There will be new hope because several years ago, God called a shy teenage girl to go to Africa.
But more than that, it's going to be a way for people to have hope, that there's more to their lives, that there's a God that cares for them and loves them and He knows their struggles and is there for them. I just want to do what Jesus' example was laid out before me, and it's always been in my heart to help others, and so it's one way I can do it.
So this is a great story so far, right? But get this, the next character in the story is you. In those depressing news stories, there's a helpless feeling because you can't do anything about it. This story isn't like that. This is where it becomes your story. The cost of building Olita's clinic is $155,000. Of that, we still need $95,000, and we need it by February 1st, 2016 to start clinic construction. Olita also needs to raise $48,000 a year for her personal support and supplies over her first 5-year term, for a total of $240,000. $153,000 of that is still needed before she can start work in Gurimbelle. The time is now. We have until February. How will your part of the story go?